Person semi-realistic investigative stealth robot game following two main characters, Ollie and Spade. As Ollie, sneak around the city evading enemies as they track you down to stop your mission. As Spade, collect and connect the evidence as you work through your assigned case.
Alailon is out on Steam May 3rd. We hope you enjoy.
Hi, I'm Jaime Abrego.
And I'm Logan Basinger, and we're from Forward Slash.
We're the devs for Anything But a Gun. Anything But a Gun is a roguelite first-person shooter that takes place in a corporate office building that's been overtaken by AI workers.
In a run, you'll encounter randomized room layouts and different waves of enemies. Some of the weapons you'll find will be mundane objects around the office space, and some will be more out there weapons. It's anything but a gun. You can upgrade weapons with powerful promotions, buy ammo, and sell them at different points throughout the run.
If you die, you'll lose all your progress, but don't be discouraged. Achievements will make your next run easier.
I'm Finn, the producer and art director at Sphinx Syndicate.
I'm Michael, the assistant producer and the lead design team lead at Sphinx Syndicate.
And we present to you Arnold Dillo, Cryptid Catcher.
In our game, you take on the role of Arnold Dillo, a bounty hunter rolling across the regions of North America to stop all the cryptids running amok.
Work your way through enemies in the mucky swamp, bustling city, and rugged desert to reach the bounty's hideout and take them out. We hope you enjoy exploring the world and the unique encounters it has to offer.
Hello everybody, I am Gavin. I am the tech lead on Arcana, which is a 2D platformer focused on speed and art.
And I'm Dylan, the producer. Arcana will center around the half-raccoon mage Kana, who is tasked with saving her home island, Kasai, from the mage hunting done by the Coalition of Mages Order, led by their chief and leader of the island, Agrillo.
Arcana will focus on a loadout-based trial-and-error speedrun platforming, with the focus being on the player figuring out the best ways to get to the highest ranks with the fastest time.
Hello everyone, I'm Jayden.
And I'm Garrett.
And we're the project leads for Cold Snap.
Cold Snap is a 3D action roguelike where you descend through the layers of Katniss to restore the core of the planet and defeat Malin for good.
Wishlist now on Steam.
Hey, I'm Thomas from Janitor's Closet Studios, here to present Exert. Exert is a 3D dieselpunk action-adventure beat-em-up in which players will infiltrate a giant airship, punch their way through enemies, and confront a rogue AI intent on humanity's extinction. We've been spending a lot of time on the game, and we're really excited to share it with you, so we hope you enjoy.
Hi, I'm Kim Wynn, creative director of Ghost Knights, and this is our game Patched. Patched is a blend of platforming, puzzle, and adventure where you play as a broken doll.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to GaIM Live. I'm your host, Aidan Hurley.
And I'm Taylor. Welcome back, everybody, for our third summer episode.
Fantastic. How have you been?
I've been good. I want a churro, but we're ready to talk about lots of things about game design, specifically our facet. Level design.
Level design. That's the best part. That's the fun part. That's the part I like.
That's what we do.
We do that.
Now, as level designers, we have a lovely level design track here at UCF. Now, our track is very specialized, but everybody does have to learn a little bit of level design when you're here at UCF in our computer as a medium class, where you do a little bit of level design and coding.
Just to briefly explain level design for the folks who may not understand the concept.
Yes.
You know when you play Mario and there's the level in front of you? Think of us as making the blueprints and actually placing the blocks within the level to make the order of events you're supposed to play through within the game mechanics. It's like building a playground, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and you want to make sure your playground is safe and fun for everybody. You don't want to get sued. You want your playground to be safe.
You also don't want to have to run up the slide backwards. We make sure that doesn't happen.
Please don't run up the slide backwards. Now,
I did that all the time as a kid.
Let's see.
Almost sprained my ankle doing it. It was pretty bad.
Oh, that sounds bad. But as a level design student, you need to be very well versed in different game engines like Unity, Unreal Engine, which we will actually talk a little bit more about
to say about
later at the end of the episode, and other smaller engines like Godot, Scratch, if you're familiar with Scratch, which is the classic game design starter. That's where I started, Scratch, for my school science fair. But we are actually going to show a student work level design project today. He is going to come on, and we're going to actually have to take a break to get him on because he is on Zoom.
It'll only be a couple minutes. We'll
only
be fast,
a couple
we promise.
minutes because we want this to work well. But he's going to come on and discuss some of the current events affecting level design, and he's going to show off his last semester project, which looks very good. I watched 5 seconds of the YouTube trailer. 5 seconds, and it looked really, really good. And I am jealous of him because his project looked better than mine.
Yeah, I bet. Anyway, we will be right. I'm more referring to me.
Oh.
Mine was interesting. But we'll be right back real quick, so hang tight. We'll be back in a jiffy. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We have our guest on the line now. If you would like to quickly introduce yourself and share your experience with level design, please go ahead now.
Hi. I am Lucas. I hope you guys can hear me.
We can.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. I honestly, this was my first time ever really delving into level design in Shabib's class, like, extensively. I'm more of a systems designer. I like designing big number go up kind of deal. I honestly didn't know what to expect going into this class, but I feel like I came out of it like 200% better at like everything. Honestly, everything, because this class isn't even just about level design, it's about making a game in general.
That's very lovely.
Good amount of programming as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. My there's a ton of code to go through in this one, even to talk about.
And hey,
I was gonna say, from the opening shot, it looks very nice.
Oh yes, it looks lovely.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just kind of have it on a random thing. There's
oh my god,
this
is beautiful.
Is very big. There's a lot to account for the horizon when you're looking in the world and everything, so it looks a little seamless and not just like, oh, there's the horizon over there, there's nothing there.
Wow.
Forgot to put something there, continuity error.
I think it's very, very nice. So this is also a very different thing that I get to see, since I did not have Shbeeb. I had our lovely, technically lead for our internship, Davis, as my game design teacher. So this is a different experience.
I had Shbeeb.
Yeah, you had Shbeeb.
Yep.
I think we were in the same class.
Were we? Okay, I'm going to be so honest with you.
Aidan doesn't know his own classmates?
I remember the names of most of my classmates. We probably were. There's a very good chance. I'm so sorry.
Oh my goodness.
It was a big class. I don't blame you.
Aidan doesn't know his own classmates.
There was a lot of people in that class in the morning.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, let's see.
Do you have any particular favorite parts of your level design project that you'd like to share specifically?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. I think one of my favorite things in this project is the follower.
Oh my god.
Is this the right one?
Now I understand why my because in our group we were allowed to do groups for my class. Now I understand why the one who had a better understanding of Unreal kept calling this spaghetti. I understand it now.
Yeah, when I was in Shbeeb's class, we had to do like everything for our projects. So I was having to learn the event stuff like this. Yours is even more complex than mine. Mine were scattered all over the place.
Oh, but it's spaghetti, but it's also very well organized.
Yes.
Look at it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so pretty much I have this bat that is kind of locked in a cage, and your goal is to open the cage, get the bat, and leave the level. I had messed around. You can see it in this blueprint over here. I had tried to mess around with AI Move To, which is Unreal's typical way to get entities to move across the map, or followers, as you will. However, because my companion was flying, that didn't work. Apparently you have to do a lot more switches to make the flying actually work. So I wrote a custom follow script here that basically just kind of checks if you are in proximity of the bat. It's kind of like a spear. And if you are, the bat automatically tracks your location. It sets its own location and rotation about like 100 units away from you, so that it doesn't overlap you. It keeps off of you and doesn't like cover your face. And it follows you at like a considerable pace. You are able to have the bat stop following you. I have a note here that's like, if you die, you know, you might lose the bat. You might just need to reapproach it. I didn't have the time to program, cases.
Have the bat like go back to the checkpoint. I see what you're talking
so
about.
kind of like the sprite from Ocarina of Time, but
Navi.
But different. Yes, Navi.
Yeah.
Kind of like Navi, but more
I follow
different.
The idea.
I like it. I think this is very interesting. Now, how did this class or project help improve your skill in level design?
Honestly, I kind of felt like going into this class, my proficiency with Unreal was probably about like a 20. Now I'm probably at a 200.
Hey.
For level design, definitely just a lot of the things Shabib talked about, I took very much to heart. Specifically, something that I remember him talking about a lot is that things need to look plausible within your world. Like something he got on my case about, which I also didn't fix on my polish. So I have these doors that go up like that, right?
Ooh.
But there's no hole in the rocks for it to go up plausibly. And he made a comment about that. He was like, "There's nowhere for the door to go up into. You're just going into a rock." And like a lot of people don't think about that stuff. It's like you look at any game you play, you probably are gonna notice stuff like that. Like, oh, there's no like socket for that to go into, or you know, how would that actually work? Because like it's just video game logic, I guess. A lot of actually thinking about how things would function goes into level design, which is not something I was particularly thinking about when slapping game worlds together before. So I think that was probably the number one thing.
Yeah, personally in Shpeeb's class, I can absolutely relate to going from I don't know how to use Unreal Engine to now I know how to use everything in Unreal Engine. Probably more than I even needed to know at this right second, but now I know how to do it.
Definitely, yeah.
There's a lot of aspects to Unreal, and a lot you kind of have to think about when you're doing level design, kind of like you're an architect. You want your building to be structurally sound. You want your building to make sense. You want your building to pass, your local codes and municipalities. If things don't make sense, your building's going to collapse, and people will note your buyers or your players will notice the collapse. They'll notice the faults, and then you're going to have to pay a lot to fix those faults later on you could have just fixed it in the beginning.
On a similar note to the architect, do you have your map for your level still?
Yes.
Because I'm curious to see, because I'm looking at your level from the top, and it looks very multi-level.
Yeah, I want to see this.
Multi-layered. Yeah. That's the word.
I want to see this. I'm excited. Ooh!
So this is the map right here.
Okay.
I never updated it after I made changes, but this is what the map looked like on the initial turn-in of map and documentation.
Ooh, I like this. This is very interesting.
I can see, yeah, you got the different lines for the critical path between the different spots. I see what you're doing. Interesting.
I see. Oh, this is so cool. And look at all of the following you do. And bird room, main room, or giant forest, which from what we could see from up top, I liked it a lot. And I like how well it's detailed, and, it makes sense, which is the best part. Now, let's see. Can we actually see just like a little bit of the level, as long as it, doesn't crash the Zoom stream?
Yeah, sure.
I would love to see just a little bit so we can give our dedicated fans, a little bit of the action.
Oh, yeah, the platforming section at the start.
Ooh.
So go to the cave. Oh, and then you have to reveal into the open world. I see.
This is tough. This is tough. For people at home,
something
tough
I
means
actually
cool.
added in after the semester was over is that originally everything just kind of worked when you, walked up to it. Now I have a need interact system, so that's cool.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh.
So I also put in cinematics mostly because I like to overachieve.
Can I hire you in the future? This is great.
Yeah, so pretty much this is the main room of the level. I was supposed to be an overgrown forest. My main inspiration was very obviously Zelda.
Yes.
There's parts that you can't access until you get more tools like that. You can't do anything through. You can't get through there.
So it's progression.
Everything is gated off here. Like you can't accidentally just walk through the forest forever and ever.
Oh, I like that.
There are assets to block as well as invisible walls because I had friends playtests and they managed to get all over under the map and everything. Like, all right, that's enough.
It's like me on Marvel
but
Rivals.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah, I forgot about that debug message.
Ooh.
Shpeeb, if you're reading this, I made an entire state machine.
And now I'm crying. Beautiful.
I forgot I put that in case he ever looked at that. Oh my goodness.
love it.
In case he looked at the archive. I made an entire state machine for a mantle animation, and you can't even see it because it's in first person.
That's
I would have
fantastic,
unhooked that
though.
before this.
Hey, Lucas, before I ask the next
I would have to
question.
go through all of those cutscenes and everything again.
Before I ask my technically next and final question, would you be willing to pull up your portfolio so that you can show off, a little bit of a sneak peek of some of the other lovely work you've done?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So I'm actually in the middle of redoing it right now.
Ooh.
I currently have 4 projects on there.
Toontown.
This first one was a game jam I just did, like, literally at the beginning of the month. It was a team of 7. I did all of the, like, not all of the programming, but almost, like, everything that wasn't boss related or enemy related was me.
Impressive. Very lovely.
Something that I did for this project that caused me a lot of grief unexpectedly was breakable pots with random items in them. I did that with Unreal's fracture system, and getting the fractures to behave with breaking only when certain things touch them was a fun project for me.
Yeah, when we were working on one of our projects, we had to scrap an entire puzzle about breaking
we
pots.
Scrapped it.
Because we took one look at it out in the design document, we're like, we might need to rethink this specifically.
Mind you, we were trying to do that in Unity, not Unreal, so it would have been worse for us to attempt to manage, because we're not at that level yet. But maybe one day we can go back and do it. Maybe one day. But
we got the itch page here. Other projects I have. This was my production game, Tiny Night of Tall Ruins. We wanted to do something that was pretty inspired by Octopath Traveler, Bravely Default, all of those games, those HD2D games that Square Enix does. I have photos on the itch, actually.
Yeah.
I can absolutely see the design.
It's like
so
more Paper Mario. I love it.
We use Paper 2D, Paper ZD. We ended up not having time for actual gameplay because working with Paper 2D was so difficult. But basically right now, what we ended up turning in was pretty much a cast of lovable characters with an entire dialogue script, and you have a quest to go find materials to repair the town hall by the end of it.
That's very adorable.
I love that. Oh.
And the main castle level and the sea level I put together in game with level design as well.
Fantastic. It's beautiful. Oh, I love it. Oh, so cool.
And then of course there's this one, the one we talked about before.
The one we were talking about. And I did see.
And then my last project on there is just an MMO I used to work for 6 years. I don't work there anymore, but it's on my portfolio just for posterity.
Impressive.
This is very lovely. Now, are there any suggestions or tips you'd like to give to students who will be taking a Shbeeb or Davis level design course in the fall?
Level design in general.
Or really any professor, or like Aidan said.
Honestly, just expect to be an engine all the time. That's my biggest thing ever. I probably sunk like over 150 hours into this project alone, and then you have on top of that the first project Shabib did, and then he does speed mapping as well, so that's more time in engine.
Oh, that's right, you guys do that.
For context for the folks at home, speed mapping is making basically the shape of a level in the span of an hour off of the map he gives you and have to interpret it correctly.
Yep, he gives you a map and he gives you 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Go fast, get it done.
And he says, make the level, and you get graded on if you do it or not.
It's tough, but it's actually kind of fun. I enjoyed them.
Yeah, it is pretty fun. It improves your skills with just getting around engine quickly and all of that. I guess the second thing to say is that I think it's only Shabib next semester for level design. If you're taking workshop and level design at the same time, good luck. It's going to be very intensive. Pace yourself. Expect to be in engine 24/7.
I believe that. Then again, that's kind of the life of a game designer. Yeah, you do the doc, and then it's get in there. Get
you just
work,
but it's worthwhile. It's fulfilling.
Level design is definitely a really, really intensive class. You need the time for it.
I remember doing my level design projects.
Yeah, all like 3 months ago.
Yeah, 3 months ago, but I was so proud of it, and so proud of me and my teammate, who we worked very hard. Now, Shbeeb class is very different from a Davis class.
I'm so proud of me, myself, and I, and all my work that I did myself.
It's like when they show the credits on a movie.
Solo.
The credits, it's just everybody lists level designer, me, 3D modeler, me.
But my class experience was very different, and But we still got a very similar education on exactly what we were doing, and it's very lovely. But I think that is everything.
All the time we've got.
And also all the time we have. But our next segment is actually not us, but we will come back later.
Yep.
But thank you so much, Lucas, for coming on with us.
Thank you very much.
So happy you came.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate being asked
Can
to
we
be
get
here.
some love for Lucas in the chat, please?
Please. And anyone, please check out Lucas's portfolio if you would like. It is Lucas. I'm going to butcher your last name.
Signer.
Signer, thank you.
Signer.
9 at .wixsite.com. Please check out Lucas's stuff, because Lucas has some very amazing games, and if you want to get a little bit more on an insight on level design work, check those out, because you will get to see the full process, plus production photos.
That's true. All right, thank you very much for
Thank
coming on. We're
you.
going to have to switch off now and have a lovely night.
Yes, have a lovely
You
one.
guys too.
Thank you.
Are we off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I think we are.
We are? Are we?
Hey, I'm Bryan Cunha from GaIM Live, and here for a special interview with a FIEA alumni. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Nikki Roth from class 2010 of FIEA. I'm a technical artist, most recently a tech art manager at Meta, and but I had started at FIEA, went to EA, worked at Lucasfilm, and then at Apple and Google, and then again most recently as a tech art manager at Meta. Can't even introduce myself. This is gonna go great.
We're chilling. So you've been around. So have you had to like move for any of these jobs? Like, do you have to go out to like California or something for Apple, or are you able to work from home for most of your stuff?
Great question. I did move across the country after my first job at EA to go to Lucasfilm, because that was over in the San Francisco Bay Area. So from one West Coast Bay Area to the other West Coast Bay. And so that was a big move across the country, definitely a leap of faith. And then there, the jobs ranged from full-time in office, and then obviously through the pandemic, and then after that there was some like return to office, doing hybrid work. Most recently I was fully remote, but also had an office close by, so being able to still go in as needed.
Awesome. Well, in that case, I guess let's step back a little bit, and as a tech designer, I guess kind of what is your job? What have you been doing at these companies for most of your stuff? I assume it's been different since, so many different companies will have different needs, especially depending on the project. But what sort of stuff do you work on generally, and what tools do you use to do so?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. Throughout those different companies, I definitely switched through different industries. So at EA, it was definitely in games. We were using proprietary engines because at the time it was on Madden, NCAA, and we were also doing NFL Blitz. And so they were using their Ant engine, which was like a proprietary engine. Did some motion builder while I was there. And then when I went to Lucasfilm, that was in feature animation. And it was doing a lot of tech pipelines. And at that time, I was actually doing stereography pipelines. So, and I didn't know anything about stereography. I had a lot more experience with pipelines. At EA, I was definitely focused more on animation. And so that was what I learned and focused and specialized in when I was at FIEA. And so at EA, I continued that, did a lot of animation pipelines, rigging, facial rigging, motion capture. And then at Lucasfilm, kind of worked with creating pipelines for stereography, and they were doing it different, where they wanted, instead of doing post-production stereography, wanted to do it in pre-production. So we were working with their proprietary tool called Xeno, very similar to a Maya, but we were creating tools within that. And so it's a little bit of scripting and trying to create tools for the artists within whatever app or whatever program they might be using, and then helping to translate their work into whatever the final product might be. And in animation, it was renders, so helping to like render out. And at the time, since it was stereography, we had to make sure we rendered two eyes, and I helped create this like disparity calculator so that we could really rack the focus and help use stereography as a storytelling tool and not just a post-production pipeline. While I was also at Lucasfilm, I worked on 1313 as part of LucasArts, and this was a really cool project because we were trying to bring together the pipelines and learnings from film and all the really like high fidelity that you could achieve with the game engine real-time applications that you do when making a game. So this was kind of the first time where we were really bridging those two and bringing really high fidelity facial capture into a game. Unfortunately, while I was there, LucasArts was shut down, but we continued a lot of that work and a lot of the virtual production pipeline work. This was before virtual production was a thing, but we were doing a lot of R&D for what that looked like. And so we were using Motion Builder and Unreal and also proprietary tools at Lucasfilm to kind of push virtual production and what a pipeline for that would look like. And then also that was around the time where we were starting to investigate VR and how to like really push the graphics of VR. We made this experiment called Trials on Tatooine, and you got to wield a lightsaber in VR, which was a fun project. And then I also did a lot of like facial capture there and going to sets and trying to capture facials with the actors, and we went through all the different fax poses, and then they would turn that into a really high fidelity rig for their digital doubles. After Lucasfilm, I went over to Apple, and this was switching to big tech out of film. It was definitely a culture shock going from like the studios to corporate, but they were looking at how to use 3D simulations to train autonomous systems. So it was my first exposure to machine learning. And again, at that time, we were still using Unreal, trying to create modular systems to generate these scenes and worlds so that we could have like random determinism. And then after Apple, I went to Google, worked on AR. So AR in YouTube, AR in search, AR in on like the stickers. And so there we were really trying to figure out how to bring all of this content pipeline knowledge and optimize it for mobile, because they want to be able to serve it to all of their customers and serve it on search, so web-based. So you're trying to like do these really high, good-looking 3D content pipelines, but compress it down to like 10 megabytes.
That is a lot of optimization.
Yeah, so it was really about like the texture compressions and the techniques that you're using in order to really try to keep the fidelity, but really like bake it down where you can. And so that was, I almost want to say it was actually 10 kilobytes. It was a really ridiculous ask, but that was a fun challenge. Also, while I was there, I was working on telepresence, and so it's Google Beam now, and it's real-time reconstruction, real-time projection, kind of like makes it feel as though they're sitting there with you, and so really trying to push just a video call and bring more of that human connection back to that. So that was more about UX and interactions, but still with real-time technology and yeah, so that was an interesting project, but a different like twist on it. And then after that, I went to Meta and worked on content creation for VR, and we started looking into a lot of like with AI and how to like generate that content with having used a lot of different editors. How can you create one that would be accessible for any type of creator? So
you have a crazy repertoire of stuff that you've done, huh?
That
is awesome. Yeah.
It was a lot of cool projects. It's been a lot of really cool projects.
I was gonna say, ranging from animation to rigging to pipelines to UI UX, like
yeah.
that is a crazy range, and that all falling under, I guess your domain of tech art is that is really crazy impressive.
And that is kind of like what a tech artist is it's someone who is just a problem solver and can really try to put together pipelines, mostly focused on 3D content, but there's so many different ways to apply that and so many different applications for it. So it was really fun to see. Like that was kind of my thread, was like I actually was trying, when I first got into this industry, I was really trying to get into special effects. But then once I came through games and was exposed to like game engines and real-time technology, and motion capture, it really like drew me in. And I just wanted to see all the ways that you could apply it.
That is awesome. As that kind of, I guess, bridge between like departments, right? Like how does the communication go? Like inside of like the different like teams and stuff, like, because you're not exclusively art, you do a little bit of programming as well, you have a little bit of influence on design, like you kind of do a little bit of everything. So like how does the communication go when needing to like bounce something towards another department, for further development?
Yeah, this actually becomes kind of the superpower of a tech artist. And just someone who can really thrive in these environments in general when you're working with these larger teams and with all these different functions and roles, of someone who can speak to an artist, of someone who can speak to a programmer, of someone who can speak to a project manager, a program manager, to business development, to UX researchers, and really try to connect all of those dots, make sure that everyone is aligned on what you're trying to do, really try to answer some of those difficult questions. That is like a really good skill to have. And a tech artist kind of by craft has to hone that to be able to speak both languages, understand both pipelines, and translate things, not just the data, but the work itself. And so that over time becomes a very powerful skill set to have as you kind of navigate larger and larger projects with bigger teams.
You're almost like a mini director.
Yeah, you really are kind of trying to make sure that because there's so many things that can get lost in that translation. There's so many times where you've got to get multiple people bought into an idea, and then make sure that you're also finding the best way to do it, not just for the team, but for the users. And so you're really trying to keep people focused on like those user-centric concepts, or how the data is coming through with research, or maybe the most efficient, effective way to do it from the programming side, or how to keep the fidelity and like really speak and kind of advocate on behalf of the artists to make sure that their work shows up as they intended. And so you're kind of you essentially kind of become that middle person, and you really focus on your relationships and your partnerships with like your PMs and your EMs, and you do essentially become like this little director.
I would say, especially with your PM, you're probably like in and out of their office, probably like, hey, so this is happening, we got to do this, I think this. That sounds like a lot of communication there.
Yeah, the more that you can stay in tandem with them and really like understand that regular communication and how to update each other and how to kind of stay step in step, it really can make or break a production.
It has, I guess, as far as like making your pipelines and stuff go, like how does that affect your communication like routes? Like how your pipelines that you create for your different projects, does that like smooth out any of that communication, or does that make sometimes you got to go talk to one person a little extra?
That's a good question. It depends on there tends to be a lot of handoffs between the pipelines. So, an artist will, even within just the art pipeline, you've got the modeler, maybe you have someone different who's doing the textures, maybe you have someone different who's working on the characters, and someone else is working on the environment, and then someone else is working on the rigging, and someone else is working on the animation, and then you have your engineers who are building the tooling and the game engines, or either the level design or the interaction design. And so it's really important to kind of understand how to hand off all of the data in between, making sure that you're like not losing data, or that it's not changing in a way that you didn't intend it to. And then that it can all come together in the end in the way that it was to really create that final product in the best way possible. For the communication aspect of it, it's a lot of setting that expectation up front and really defining what it is, the goals, what is success, what is like the expectation, making sure along the way that that's not getting changed, or maybe you have to rescope things if like a challenge comes up. There's a lot of firefighting involved, and so there's a lot of like, I'm having issues with this, and you got to go help with that. And maybe one path is kind of not going to work, and so you've got to come to a conclusion of like, what's the way that we can do this going forward. And then there is a lot of like making sure that people know the timing of when things are going to be delivered, when they should be ready, when they should expect it, so that when they can integrate it or pull it into the next part of the pipeline. So the handoff has so many different has like that timing element, the quality element, and the quantity and kind of the expectation. So the more that you can set that up front, the more that you can make sure that you're maintaining that, the smoother it will go. But there's always going to be bumps along the way. There's always going to be challenges. But that's kind of the fun part where you have to like problem solve that. And usually it's for the better. And but as long as you're kind of doing it as a team and not in silo and kind of bringing everyone along with you, then usually everyone is really proud of what they can make.
That is awesome. Walking back a little bit, so you said you do, or you're involved at least with a lot of the programming and stuff. What languages have you used a lot for your stuff? I know you mentioned you used Unreal as one of the engines that wasn't proprietary, so is that a lot of C++?
So with my experience, I did a lot of Java back in the day, but then also Python. Python, I think, was kind of my most common language. Did a little bit, like was able to use that in Maya, was able to use that just for like scripting and translation. In game engines, I did a lot of blueprint scripting, and then I would collaborate with engineers to maybe make a more compiled version of that. And so I was more on the like prototyping side of things. I would try to just stand something up, duct tape it together, use whatever tools that I had.
Make it work and then
make it
pretty.
work, make it so, because that's another way to really help with that communication that we were just talking about, is like showing, right? And so getting everyone on board with like, this is what we're trying to build. Does this feel good? Does this look good? Do we think this is fun? Do we think this is what we're trying to go for? The more that you can show that in some sort of prototype, that usually goes a long way. And so I was more focused on like, okay, how can I just stand something up and like show proof of concept? And then I would hand it off to the engineers who could make a more like actual working and efficient version of that.
Makes sense. Would you recommend for any aspiring tech artists that they learn a programming language, or like at least try their hand at a little bit of like surface level programming?
Definitely for the high scripting language, or like the high level scripting languages, like Python is a great one, C++ is great. Like being able to understand the programming concepts will help you speak that language, so that you can go back to being that director, that person in the middle who can really communicate and kind of understand how to stand something up. So maybe you don't have to do it with pointers or go all the way to the low level programming, but at least being able to understand programming concepts. So I would say learn one language, and then that's the great thing about programming is once you learn one language, it can be easier to pick up more languages because you've understood the algorithms and the concepts and kind of the structures that you're working with.
Yeah, a little bit of mutual intelligibility between them.
Yeah, exactly. And then it also kind of helps with like the modular thinking and kind of the different ways that you might build not just your scripts but your content as well.
Gotcha. So also for Unreal, since you did mention that you worked in a lot of proprietary engines, and since that's stuff we can't really access, right? Unreal being the one we can practice, what tools have you really like honed in on that have given you a lot of help? I know that since you did mention you worked on UI, UX, I assume stuff like Common UI and a lot of the procedural generation stuff that they've been coming, especially with Unreal 5. Has been helpful. What sort of tools do you think in Unreal would be great for tech artists and adjacent jobs to kind of focus in on, in something that you've gotten a lot
Yeah, it is challenging because Unreal is such a beast, and there's so many parts of it to like
Absolutely.
understand.
Absolutely,
to really
I feel
get. I think it's good to try to understand a lot of the different systems within Unreal, and then maybe find one that you go deeper into. I mean, these proprietary engines are built by engineers who probably were influenced by game engines like Unreal and Unity, and then they're just kind of building a version that's purpose-built for what that company is trying to do. And so there's a lot of overlap, there's a lot of similarities, and again, similar to a program language, as if you know Unreal or if you know Unity, you'll probably be able to quickly pick up whatever the proprietary tool is. And that expectation is there when you join a company that has proprietary tooling, that they're going to train you up on how to use that. And so it's really more about that like adaptability and kind of just being exposed to what exists so that you can kind of pick up the next thing. And so with Unreal, Unreal specifically, I think it kind of is like whatever you're most passionate about or whatever part of Unreal that it like draws you in. I would say like learn that pipeline from top to bottom, but then still be familiar with all of the other different parts of Unreal and what systems exist and how they connect to maybe that part. So for me, obviously, my background is animation, and so I was trying to learn the animation pipeline from end to end. And so I got in there and started working with the state machines and the timeline and all of those, the blueprint scripting and all the pieces that touch animation and like the character rigging and the being able to create stream in motion data and all that kind of stuff. And so I really was able, from there you kind of get exposed to more and more of the engine without getting overwhelmed of like, where do I start? So I would just start with what's most interesting, and then you'll find the rest.
Gotcha. So start developing one skill, then kind of get that diversity going on. Engine diversity sounds like it's a big big thing with the proprietary engines here. So that's good to hear. Okay, because I've been working in both Unity and Unreal so far, so I've been trying to expand that out as well. I'm trying to look into I think Godot engine is probably the next one I'm going to be looking into, because I know that one's on the up.
Yeah, Godot's a good one, but you can already see, like, even when you're just comparing Unreal and Unity, the similarities, the differences, how they maybe approach their data structure a little differently, or how they approach the interactions. Unity is really good for that, like, prototyping, just kind of getting interactions and things together. Unreal is really good for if you're looking for like a higher fidelity and like kind of standing up PBR pipelines and that kind of thing. So they have their strengths, their weaknesses, but they also have a lot of similarities and differences. So you could imagine like, if you pick up something like Godot, like that right there, you're already showing that ability to be able to adapt to a new one.
Awesome. I guess building on that, would you say that there's something that students or maybe people who are upcoming in the industry focus on a little too much, and maybe they should like lower their focus a little bit and like kind of like spread it out like you were mentioning earlier? You think there's maybe something that's like overvalued in the learning process but doesn't really pay off in industry?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's anything that's like overvalued. I would say something to really focus on is not just the work and what you produce, but how and who you produce it with. Like the network, the people that you're working with here, and the people that you work in with the industry, like that, you learn over time how important your network becomes and the people you work with, and how that can lead you to new opportunities. So definitely I would focus not just on your portfolio and what you're making, but who you're making it with. Consider this your first network. And then also how you make it. So your portfolio, you're going to try to draw someone in by how it looks or what's on it. But what they're going to really look for is how you made it and your thought process for how you were making it and the challenges you went along the way and how you overcame them and the ways that you approach a problem. So it's more of that process. Granted, it's great to have something to show and like here's the output as well, but they're going to really want to know how you got there in that process. So sometimes a lot of people will have a portfolio that's showing so many different things, but doesn't really give some of that depth to it.
Problem solving. It sounds like
exactly.
Make every project a learning experience.
Exactly.
Like focus on something. Okay.
And it is like even throughout your career, every project that you work on is a learning experience, and you'll have the takeaways of what to do next time or what not to do next time, and then again the people that you work with.
Gotcha. So would you do anything differently as a student with that knowledge now?
I think I would. That's a good question. I think I had at FIEA we have a cohort and we were really close, and so that was my first network, and I stay in touch with a lot of them, and I think that kind of gave me that foundation of how important it is to give that attention to your network. But what I would do different.
If you can't think of anything, that's a fine answer as well. You know, if you feel like you made the most of your opportunities, I mean, go for it.
Yeah, I think it's always just trying to think of it as a learning experience, always being curious for what else you can learn. And then, yeah, really trying to enjoy the moment and the present and what you're learning, and not always think about like, well, where, what's next. Yeah, maybe that.
Gotcha. I mean, I think that's as good as answer as any, you know? Sometimes the answer is, yeah, no, I can't really think of anything. I feel like just, you know, going through it and making the most of your opportunities, just talking to as many people as you can. I mean,
yeah, it was an experience. I learned so much from it. I don't know if I would change anything. I'm really glad that I have that to look back on and kind of like had that as a starting place. And yeah, I think I would just keep wanting to learn more.
Awesome. I mean, that is how you got here, right? You did mention a little bit before the interview that you were the first technical artist, technically, to graduate from FIEA. So I think that passion for learning has definitely gotten you pretty far. Trying to look at the questions here. Oh, here, you know what? This is a good one. What's something that that students might not really understand about the industry, whether that's production pipelines or, you know, just going in and talking to people? What's something that you think was really that shock? You know, you said you had a culture shock swapping from industry for film over to technology, right? So is there any other like shock for you when you first got into your workspace?
We kind of talked about this a little bit. I think it was once you start moving to like the bigger teams, the bigger projects, like in school, you know, you're working in teams the size of, you know, maybe you've got a small team of 4, or maybe at most you've got 10, 15 on your project. But then you go to a company that has a project that's maybe 60 people, or when you get to corporate, you know, maybe these teams are much larger than that, and so the scale of it can be overwhelming. And then also the diversity of the types of people you're working with, and it really becomes important, the communication, the cross-functional communication, understanding all the different roles. You get some exposure to that here, where you've got your producers and project managers and product managers, and you've got your programmers and your engineers, and you've got your artists and your tech artists. But then there's so many other roles that that also are important at these companies. And so really trying to understand how to speak to all of those roles, how to collaborate with all of those roles, and how those big teams operate is something that, yeah, you kind of have to like pick up. There was another thought in there that I wanted to touch on, which was about like, I lost it. Maybe it'll come back to me.
Yeah, if it comes back, just feel free to just pop in.
Yeah, the people, the collaboration, the pace of things, the scale of things, it can be at times overwhelming, but also really impressive of like the things that can be done when you bring that many people together, and the like caliber of talent that you work with is always incredible.
What sort of mediums do you use to communicate with your teams? Is it, you know, Slack, Microsoft Teams, Discord?
It kind of depends on it varies. It depends on the company. One thing that's kind of interesting about having worked at a number of the big tech companies is they all tend to communicate based on what they were founded on. So with Apple, they are a hardware company, they make phones, and so a lot of the times you're communicating on your phone, whether it's text messages, Slack, or actually like calling people. Like you might just call a teammate to get an answer to a question. At Google, they had Gmail. That was the biggest form of communication. They also have like GChat. and Google Docs and all that, and the whole Google suite that they're using to collaborate. But a lot of their communications are through Gmails and forums. And then at Meta, they actually have like an internal Facebook. And so you post a lot of your communications, a lot of your updates there. They too still have like a chat. So everyone, there's usually some sort of chat mechanism. There's usually some sort of way to like take a snapshot of the latest update and like share out kind of the like big takeaways. And then there's the working docs, which tend to be your like within a doc or a spreadsheet or a deck, and that's where you're kind of like working through a project or really developing something, and then you might, the outcome of that might become a post or an email, and then you're kind of like doing a lot of back channeling on your chats and in meetings.
Gotcha. Very interesting. An internal Facebook sounds wild.
Yeah.
Does it like look different at all, or just?
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's a lot of the same features, but you follow your coworkers and the different projects and teams you're on, and then yeah, you know, kind of can see the latest by looking at your feed. And
I was just curious to me, because it was just
you like posts and comment on posts and everything. Yeah.
Pull up to a teammate, it's like, hey, you didn't like my post. What's up?
Yeah, and then usually you'll share your post through chats and be like, hey, check out my post, or check out this post. It's important. Make sure you read this one, or that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. I guess since we are kind of running towards the end of our little time here, what stands out in a portfolio to you? Like what things do you think would be relevant to put on there? I know you mentioned earlier a bit with the problem solving. Like, do you think including that kind of thought process behind each project in your portfolio would be like a good move, or would that be better like located, you know, maybe on like a website or something?
I think it depends on the type of portfolio you're creating. You definitely want to show your best work, so I wouldn't worry so much about quantity, but quality. You want to show the best things. Depending on what type of artist or tech artist or programmer you're trying to be, you want to definitely show examples of the type that you're wanting to specialize in, or maybe that you have the most experience in. I do think including a little bit of like a case study or some of the learnings for a project or or like one of your pieces is good to have there. You maybe don't have to go full deep, because you do want the person, you know, you kind of are using this as a way where you want them asking more. You want them to see more. You want them being like, oh, I want to talk to this person and learn more about this project. So I think showing that you have some of those thoughts and some of those takeaways, it would be good to include that, and then, you know, have the longer form version in a deck that you can present during an interview. So, but definitely focusing on quantity, making it easy to look through things. Less clicks is better. And the more, I think some commentary is very helpful to have when looking at portfolios.
Yeah, a lot of the feedback I've heard from portfolios from professors here is as short as possible, as long as necessary.
Yeah.
So
and
the less you got to look through, the better it is for the person reading it. You know?
It's so true, and that's why I think it's really good to like focus on just a couple really good pieces, but talk about them and kind of highlight why they're what you really learned from them, because it's not just about the outcome, it's about how you got there. And so really being able to tell that story, and then maybe you can have your little catch-all of other things if they really want to dig into it. But like make the surface really easy to skim, and then if they're interested, they'll dig, and you can still present that stuff in a place where they can find it.
Gotcha. Okay. And I guess with that, where can we find you online? You know, connect with you, follow your work. Like, where can we see you? I know you have a LinkedIn page.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I think it's Nikki Roth, ROTH.
I believe so.
And so I'm on LinkedIn. I'm somewhere on Instagram. I think it's like, I honestly don't remember my handle. I'm not really good at selling at that part. But LinkedIn is a good place to start. So feel free to connect there.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for your time. Unless there's anything else you want to share,
I almost want to redo my intro because I don't even know how to introduce myself. But
I think the rest of the interview will do the talking for you.
That's fair. That's fair. No, thank you so much for having me. It's an interesting time these days in the industry, and so I think as long as you find something that sparks your interest, that gives you a little bit of passion, be curious about it, and then and be kind to the people that you work with.
Some great words of wisdom for an outro. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And yeah, that's all we're gonna have for this interview here today. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to GaIM Live. I'm your host, and we're back talking about Unreal Engine 6.
Yes. Apologies, our mics were apparently muted.
Apparently the mics were muted, but we're back now.
Yes.
Anyway, as we were saying, so recently there was a big announcement that Unreal Engine 6 will be being released. For those who don't know, video games are made on engines. The project we showed earlier in the stream was made in Unreal Engine 5. And as of recently, Unreal Engine 6 was announced. Basically, every couple years, Epic Games, the folks who make Unreal Engine, will update it to a full numbered version instead of just the small incremental updates. These are usually full service refreshes or change out major parts of the code base or functionality.
Or layout, even.
That layout as well, UI elements, etc. And recently, Unreal Engine 6 was announced. And we have thoughts.
Yes, but
lots of them.
We're going to show the trailer first. They also did show Rocket League stuff in this. Now, Unreal Engine 6 is basically Unreal Engine 5, but they take the stuff from the Fortnite editor and brought it in. Now that is Unreal 6. So we're going to watch this video.
A lot of other changes.
Thank you, IGN, for having the video ready for us, because we need to watch this to help explain to the masses what we're showing. I think we can hit play.
We gotta show it on the thing first. Somebody put the thing on. Put the thing on.
Thank you. Sorry, guys.
We got it.
Here's the man from Unreal.
The most unreal man of all time.
To all of our friends here in Paris and those watching all around the world.
For context, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to focus a lot on Rocket League because this was during the Rocket League finals.
I think it was.
If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's why it's set up like a WWE match.
Yeah.
This is the future, and this is
Rocket League.
Rocket League. No, not 2. Not Rocket League 2.
Not Rocket League 2. Blue Blob.
Captured real time in game.
Rocket League.
Here we go. It's Rocket League 2. It's not
Rocket League 2.
It's just like Rocket League 1, but awesome.
It's still Rocket League.
It's Rocket League.
New engine. You can hear the audience.
Fortnite.
Aidan keeps doing very marketable reactions. Thanks, Aidan. Unreal. 6.
9. 6.
Aidan can't count. Confirmed.
Sorry, I can't read numbers sometimes. I forget.
They're all so excited. Was that Tim Sweeney at the beginning?
No, that was not Tim Sweeney. That was the guy they paid to.
I don't know what Tim Sweeney looks like.
That's a great question. He does not look like that, though. Tim Sweeney could never pull off that gorgeous white suit.
Whoa! Hold up. But no, look at all these happy people. They didn't say anything. Okay, well, we have to talk now about Unreal Engine 6 and the things that changed. So the video is going to stay on in the background for all you lovely folks at home, so you can have a little something fun to look at while Aidan and I just kind of
There we go. Good graphic with the logo. Perfect.
Can we move the button up a little more?
What button? This button?
Yes.
You mean the laptop?
Yes.
The button?
Yeah, the button.
The button.
Okay, now we have many things to talk about Unreal 6, but like I said before, Unreal 6 is taking Unreal Engine 5 and taking Unreal Engine Fortnite editor, adding them together, and now we have Unreal Engine 6.
Yes. So for context, Unreal Engine was previously, at some point, I think it was a couple years ago, split into 2 forks, one of which was Unreal Engine 5, meant for main video game development, and then there was a spin-off called Unreal Engine Fortnite, specifically meant to add gameplay into the Fortnite creation tools. As you can see,
like
on
Lego
here you got
Fortnite
on the left, Lego Fortnite on the right, and then there's all the user-created content right here. And this is the stuff made in Unreal Engine Fortnite.
Castle?
Oh, did you not? Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Disney has worked
with Disney.
I forgot about that. But yeah, so they have 2 different facets, but now they're coming back together to be a single unified engine.
And they're also putting Rocket League in Fortnite, which is interesting.
They are?
Yeah, it's going to be part of the Fortnite client now.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
One app on your PlayStation.
One app.
But they also, it's not shown in this dev release, but they put out a press release outside of the trailer later in the day that has full information on Unreal Engine 6.
Now, Unreal Engine 6 is coming in, I believe they said late fall 2027.
Yes.
So, and even then, that's going to be like early Unreal 6. It's not going to be the full thing. They're still going to be continuously updating it. I think they even to this day still upgrade 4. So
do they still update Unreal Engine 4?
I think they do, but they still they might. I might be wrong. So don't quote me on that. But Unreal's team, they actively update pretty much everything pretty regularly, and they put everything on GitHub, and it's open source. So if you ever need a very specific update of Unreal, you can go on their GitHub and see it. So as 6 develops, if you like a certain feature a lot more, please tell the developers on Unreal 6 that, like, hey, this feature was really helpful.
They have a specific note at the end of the press release that they are looking for active feedback on this as this develops.
So if you want to do some more research on Unreal 6 after hearing us talk about it, please message the developers, ask them some questions, because I think they would be more than happy to, answer them for you. And who doesn't love answering questions about your creation? You're basically your baby.
True. You also have to keep in mind that as of right now, we are still using Unreal Engine 5 for our curriculum here at UCF.
Yes.
Because obviously, Unreal 6 isn't out yet.
Yeah.
I am unaware of when I assume at some point we switch from 4 to 5. But we are using Unreal Engine 5, and there is a possibility at some point we'll be switching to Unreal Engine 6, which means there are a lot of changes in here that will be affecting the curriculum going forward. So it's important to discuss here.
Exactly.
Trying to pull up the bullet points real quick. There we go. They have 3 main bullet points. The moving of the gameplay, programming model,
verse.
Code economies being portable and interoperable across games. Words are hard.
It's okay.
And input and
development pipelines.
I'm trying to think of the word. Integration of AI generation models into old versions of
like
Unreal.
Claude, Gemini, and some other ones. Later in the article, they do mention live language learning modules, which is typically, I believe, used for helping translate for other countries. So if you speak a language like Mandarin, I believe that is what it's used for, to help translate faster so other countries can get the updates at the same time us English speakers do.
Yes. We should probably go through these down the list first.
Yes, let's go
First
down the
of all,
list.
I'll just read this verbatim. We're moving the gameplay programming model to Verse, which transactionalizes C++ for increased accessibility of development and so that we can build persistent, large-scale, live experience with thousands of contributors. So, right now, Unreal Engine 5 is based off the Blueprint system.
Yes.
As you saw earlier, what we called spaghetti code was those lines moving between dots and nodes, tying everything together inside of it.
That's a blueprint.
That is a blueprint. Think of it as a way of visualizing the code and where things link up in the code and are named. That is what we've been mainly, especially in my level design class, that's what we've been taught on how to use in Unreal. This move to a new gameplay framework, if I'm not mistaken, it is in here. Somewhere.
At the top.
Is it near the top? No, not Verse, but I'm talking about the removal of blueprints.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly where in the article it is exactly, but I remember looking at it earlier. The swap to Verse, due to how Verse is made, I am so sorry to the developer who made Verse. I am about to butcher your name. I'm so sorry. Helunski? I'm so sorry.
Is it Swedish or?
It might be. I don't know. Heluski also has his or her. I don't know. I actually know nothing about the developer. All I know is they made the language. They made their own, and it is typically used for academia coding. And Verse kind of draws a little bit from that. So it's more based off of academia values rather than gaming values, which is a very big change. So that could be part of the reason why Blueprints is going away, alongside actors going away. And an actor in...
It specifically stated that in the early versions of Unreal Engine 6, Blueprints and actors will be present, for the plan is to depreciate them over time to make Verse the primary method of coding.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you buy a banana and it slowly like rots away because you didn't eat it fast enough, but the banana's still there,
and eventually it likely will come to it being removed entirely. And personally, I'm mixed. I want to keep an open mind to see where we're going with the new programming structure, but as someone who most of the programming I've learned has specifically been through Blueprints and Unreal over the last semester or two, and now hearing, in the next version, Blueprints are getting removed, that makes me very skeptical.
Yeah.
So they do say that you can still use, for example, C++ inside Verse, and that it's called through Verse. I'm not a heavy programmer.
Yeah.
I'm a level designer. I am not sure what specifically all this means. So it seems, I think some things are going to be able to be converted. They promised multiple times in the article that the transition from UE5 to UE6 should be smooth.
And
so
seamless.
Hopefully they have some sort of workaround, or blueprints are continuing to be updated, something along those lines.
Because many people, unfortunately, though C++ and codes like C# are very, very accessible, even for all languages, like I mentioned before, Mandarin, or I believe it is in Hindi as well, and some of the other languages all across the world, verse is, to my knowledge, not. So taking from more accessible coding languages, it could be a new challenge for a lot of people to face, because a lot of people, though they don't know these new coding languages, now they're going to have to figure out verse, while blueprints was also just very accessible to learn.
I follow where you're coming from.
So there's a lot of future to be untold, but hopefully it will be easy for everybody to learn, because though they are adding the live language module, I am still a little hesitant, because I do worry for some of our lovely friends across the pond who are doing this too. What's going to happen with them? What's going to happen with their code? I'm a little worried for them, because I like what they make, and a lot of our friends across the pond make some good stuff.
I will say there are some perks they specifically note in this. For example, they directly note that saving should be easy. Behind the scenes, having to save all your data between booting up and closing the game is difficult.
It's a pain.
It's a lot of code. But they specifically promise that that's going to be made a lot easier in this, using the term save state. For those who are unaware, save state is a term of flatly saving everything that is happening into a game on a single frame and allow you to consistently call and rewind back to that. If you're familiar with Nintendo Switch Online or a lot of retro game collections, they have save state features, which allow you to, in old games that don't have saving, effectively save your game by freezing the game in time. This promises to make that a much more reliable way of saving your game just naturally as part of the code. And that's exciting.
Yeah, that's actually really nice. I do like that a lot.
A lot of retro game collections are actually coded directly inside Unreal. I've seen a lot of emulation tools made running using Unreal. So possibly going forward, that can make the process of moving older games to modern platforms easier. So there are upsides, even there. There's some very skeptical sounding.
It'll be
downsides. Do we go with downsides?
I'd say
there's
potential
a mix of opinions.
Potential things in the future.
Potential issues.
Potential, but
that I will say, Epic Games, they do a lot of work on Unreal, and it gets updated a lot.
It does.
So any issues that we're probably going to see early with Unreal Engine 6, I can see being ironed out in time.
They'll fix it so fast. I think one time I saw an Unreal update, and I was like, oh, this is a weird glitch. Quite literally, the morning after they updated it, it was gone. They're so fast with it. So thank you, development team behind Unreal Engine, for being really good at that.
Speaking of moving fast in between things and patches.
Portable content.
Portable content. So when you play a video game, a lot of what is in a video game is coded specifically within the realms of that game.
Yep.
I can't just drag an enemy from whatever project I'm working on into Taylor's project, and all of a sudden it's going to magically work. If I'm making a first-person shooter and she's making a racing game.
Yeah.
Completely different. That's not how that works. However, Unreal Engine 6 is specifically promising to add portable content.
Which,
fancy. Think of it as making a way of just dragging and dropping between genres or other projects possible. They harp a lot on Fortnite in this.
Fortnite.
In Fortnite, you have the locker system. So you go and you play the game and you can earn outfits, skins, or you can pay for them. I have maybe spent a little too much on Fortnite.
Yeah, you got every skin ever.
I don't have every skin ever. That's a little bit of exaggeration. It just so happens when they put a skin in the shop from a childhood property I end up spending $20 to $50 on the game.
My.
I was really happy when they added Ben 10 a month or two ago. That made me very happy.
But like that, Fortnite, because of all the different cosmetics you can have, they're going to use Fortnite as basically the first real proof, to show how this works. So what they're going to do is, from what I've read and what I understand, you're going to be able to take, your Fortnite outfits and put them into your own games, and then you can then use the tools to build outfits for your own games that then will be able to be potentially ported into Fortnite. Now, I'm not sure how that final section is going to work, but I don't know if it's going to be an optional thing. I don't know if it's going to be
I think it's just going to be an option for developers to transfer things from the Fortnite locker into their own game. So if you have a skin unlocked in Fortnite, there's a possibility in the future with Unreal Engine 6 that you can take your, let's say, Ryu from Street Fighter and throw them into a bunch, or Hatsune Miku, or just chuck them into a bunch of other games. Yeah. Personally, I'm a little curious to see how this is going to be enforced, for lack of a better term. Fortnite has a lot of licensed property skins, not as well as original ones. That was something I was worried about too. So there could be a possibility that a lot of the skins in your locker aren't allowed to go to other experiences or video games
due to copyright. But
they already have some restrictions on that in Fortnite itself, using a sort of ESRB rating system.
And also for their kind of Lego game, because I know not every skin works in Lego Fortnite due to properties, but we have a lot of options. I'm hoping it's some of the Fortnite original skins, because they are very beautiful.
They're very nice.
Oh, okay, we gotta speed up.
Yes, but that's a main feature, and probably the one I'm most excited about. But the last thing that's coming up is the AI generation model implemented into Unreal Engine. So going forward with this update, we're going to see large language models, generative AI models, and tools like Claude, Codex, and they also mentioned Gemini as well in here, being integrated directly in. So ChatGPT, for example,
is a learning language model.
But they're going to be integrated into your projects. So assumingly it can mess with your code or add things into your project.
We're not really sure how it's going to work, as
they're very vague in the description.
Because remember, this is still in development. Things could change. Even the stuff we mentioned before could change. Everything rapidly changes. But they do mention multiple times throughout this article that they're doing this to help speed up development for all, which I understand the sentiment, I really do, and I do appreciate wanting to make things faster and to reduce tedious work, but my hesitations do come from, I do like doing some of this stuff. I don't want to take it away from me.
I have my own personal gripes with AI. I do think this is going to be, I'm actually fine with it being implemented, specifically in the sense of scanning. For example, it could just quickly run through your code base and be like, hey, this is what's breaking, because right now when you work with C++, they're a little vague on what's breaking. So to a degree, I can see where they're coming from. Like, here's how to fix this, or catching grammar errors. So that being implemented directly in Engine, so you don't have to take all that and copy-paste to another thing. Yeah. There are benefits to this.
There's many benefits.
I have my own concerns specifically with AI-generated art being directly implemented into it. As someone personally, I would not want that in my project, but I understand some people are much bigger on that, or speeding up or using it for concept art. And that's going to be an option going forward.
And like I said, this could just not end up in Unreal 6. They could change this due to community feedback. Because like I said at the beginning, or well, like both of us said, they have a feedback line at the bottom. Would we like to show the feedback line?
Hold on, let me scroll back to it. There we go.
There it is. They do want feedback, but there are so many things that could change to 2027 when they actually release this. Yes.
There's also possibly a lot of other features they haven't announced yet that we could be seeing forward. But it shows an interesting promise for the future.
Yes.
Both, it's going to have its up and downs. I'm open to verse. We'll see about how the removing of blueprints go, or how intrusive the AI implementation is. But only time is going to be able to tell on that.
Exactly. Now, so many things could change, but we can keep an open mind and hope that, Unreal 6 lives up to what it's promising, and that it really aids us as level designers and future students into making their games even better than they already can be.
But we'll see for now. I think that's time up, and I want to go back home and play Fortnite. So we should probably wrap it up right here.
Yes.
All right, thank you all so much for watching. We will see you
in 2 weeks.
In exactly 2 weeks from now.
Which is July something.
Let me check. July 8th will be our next podcast.
Yes.
And we're live every other Wednesday this summer. So thank you all very much for tuning in, and have a fantastic night. That's game over!